Hello everybody, and welcome back. It's me, ChipZ, and we are talking about One Piece Chapter 1060 today on this episode of Chips Ahoy. It is our weekly One Piece initial read-through and discussion show that we do for every chapter of One Piece as they come out weekly. And from what I've heard, I haven't been spoiled to any specifics, but from everything I've heard so far, this one is going to be a fucking doozy. I keep getting pinged about it, mostly because I hear it's really cool, but I think I might owe after this chapter, I think I might owe some people some money. So we're going to get into it, and I'm already riding the high from last chapter, guys, I'll be honest with you. Last chapter was fucking insane. Surely this will finally be the Robo Sabo chapter. Let's hope so, Sour Lemon. Let's hope so. A man can dream, right? A man's dream will never die, as Blackbeard said. But yeah, so all I know about this chapter, so I have not been spoiled to anything in particular, but I've been tagged in relation to a bet that I made with a couple people that I know a long time ago, several years ago at this point. And I suspect that based on their enthusiasm, there's a good chance that I'm about to owe some people some money after this one. So we'll see what happens. I've been doing my best to avoid the pings, avoid the spoilers, but from everything I've heard, this chapter is really cool. This chapter is Kino, and we're continuing with the Kino post-Wano chapters. Last chapter was fucking nuts. We got kind of wrap up for Yamato and Marco finally, which felt weirdly dropped, at the end of Wano. So it was good to get some wrap up for them. Still very awkward that kind of wrap up to sort of their involvement in the arc came after the arc, It felt a little weird. I think Oda probably could have handled that better. That being said, I'm still glad we got it. I just feel like it was a little bit awkwardly handled. That being said, the rest of the chapter was fucking 9 out of 10 shit. Between, the clash between Boa and the Kuja pirates, the the Kuja kingdom, the whole kingdom was being attacked. We also had Blackbeard showing up, and we had the what did Vale call them again? It was the Pedo Tensai. Pedo Tensai. Because we got the children, the Lunarian child army that are apparently the new weapons that Vegapunk has created. They are pacifistas with Lunarian DNA, and they happen to be, or it appears to be, that they are clones of, of the Shichibukai. So, crazy shit. So Sour Lemon says, that bet had such an obvious outcome even then. Truly you smooth brain that one. Yeah, well, here's the thing, Sour. When we get to what, I'm sure, the fact that I keep getting pinged about it means that this shit's gonna come up. At some point after I'd made the bet initially, I kind of realized, shit, I think I kind of fucked myself here, because there was, more and more came out, as the official translation of that chapter came out, and then later as other information appeared regarding that, regarding Luffy's dream, or Luffy's true dream rather, it seemed more likely that I would be taking the L on this one. But listen, when we get there, I'm going to explain my reasoning. I have multiple pages of manga pulled up to explain my reasoning as to why I was so convinced that it would not be what, because from my perspective, and we'll get into it, because I feel like this is a bit of an in-joke for people who are not familiar with this bet I made with Vale and Hot Boy ages ago, regarding information that came out in chapter 1000, which must have come out over a year ago at this point, at least a year and a half ago, if not 2 years ago. So it was a while ago. But I am going to explain my reasoning, but I'm also, if it turns out that in this chapter I am proven to be definitively wrong, I of course will make good on the promises that I made and make everyone whole. So we'll see what happens. Obviously, I have not read the chapter yet, so anyone who shows up who doesn't, know how Chips Ahoy works, this is a show I do called Chips Ahoy. My name's, I'm Adam, aka Chimpanzee, and we basically, in this show, we do a live reaction to One Piece. We discuss it as we go, and basically we just interact with chat, have a good time. It's a fun show. It's a fun show, and we try to kind of dig into like the meat of the chapter, talk about the themes, talk about what we like, what we dislike. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. One Piece has really been on a roll since the end of Wano Kuni. I've enjoyed basically every chapter since then. And not to say that I didn't like Wano Kuni, I'm just excited for what's next. So it feels like we're going into like the rest of One Piece with kind of a clean slate. Like obviously there are things we expect, things we suspect might happen. But I'm really excited to see what happens this chapter. I really don't know any of the details. All I know is that apparently I've been proven wrong about a bet I made like 2 years ago. So we'll see what happens. And without further ado, let's fucking get into this chapter. Chapter 1060 of One Piece. I don't know the name of the chapter yet. We will find out soon enough. Okay, so here we go. It's One Piece. It's Nika, baby. He's got the white hair. He's got the white crown or whatever that fucking white cape thing is. The smoke billowing off of him. Looks like cum. Just a lot of it, which is great for Luffy, being the cum fruit, obviously. So looking good, Luffy, looking great with your fucking literal ass pull power up. I don't hate Nika, but I do have some complaints about it. Whatever, we're not going to dwell on it. It's a fucking cover page, whatever. I don't know the name of this chapter yet, because the only thing I've seen so far is this, the Nika cover page on the weekly Shonen Jump cover of, the cover of Weekly Shonen Jump magazine. Anyway. So we got this is a baller cover spread. I really like this. Got Sanji with the fucking rings, got the pinky ring. Got Luffy looking like a bad bitch. We stand for liberty. Fuck yeah. And we got a polar bear smoking a fucking joint out of his nostril, based. Honestly, Sanji and Zoro are both looking extra drippy here, which is fucking cool. The wings of the Pirate King looking based. Jinbei wearing the fucking captain's hat, which I do not approve of. You have not earned that, Jinbei. Take it off. Give it back, you piece of shit. Brook looking great. Nami and Robin looking great as always. Chopper looking cringe, but what are you going to do? And Frankie looking like the best biker boy in the gang. All right, fuck it. We're moving on. This chapter is called Luffy's Dream, baby. I didn't even know that's what it was called. I didn't have a fucking clue. I honestly had no idea. Like, I expected we would get more information about Luffy's true dream or whatever, because that's what everyone was, like, speculating about back when Chapter 1000 came out. I expected we wouldn't get anything, any confirmation on that, until we got to Raftel. Like, full stop. I did not expect anything anytime soon. God damn it. God damn it, Odo. Why couldn't you be a cool-based boy and agree with me, as you usually do? Anyway, let's get into it. So this, I want to see an updated version of the bonus coloring page from Volume 8 with all 10 members. Okay, so this is the request by Iwasaka, and now we have all 10 members. We got Jinbei. He's looking good. He's looking good. I forgot to point out Usopp. He's looking good as well. Honestly, I'm warming up to Jinbei. Jinbei was never a character that I disliked, but I wasn't sure how he would fit in with like the crew dynamic. So far, I mean, we haven't seen much of him on the crew, but I'm excited to see more of him. All right, so we got a couple Sea Kings. These guys are clearly sailing through, what, the Grand Line, the fucking Calm Belts. There's a bunch of Sea Kings, so it makes me wonder. No way in hell, this is a lie, says somebody. He'd never kill Vivi's dad. So this is, he's learning the news about Sabo. We're about to get into Robo Sabo, baby. Robo Sabo. Honestly, even if I lose the bet with Vale and Hot Boy, as long as I get the Robo Sabo, as long as that comes true, we're good. I can take my W and walk away with a win. So we'll see what happens here. Sabo wouldn't do something like this in a million years, says Luffy, basically shouting. I'm with you there. So Robin also knows Sabo, trained with him and Koala during the time skip when she was with the Revolutionary Army. So cool. The Revolutionary Army is against the world nobles, not the regular king. So that's an interesting distinction. I know a lot of people think like the Revolutionary Army's been like kind of cucked to some degree because like, in the real world, like real life revolutionaries are typically don't stop at just like the 1%. They, they're like, anyone who is like privileged and like has like been born into their position and is, even if they are like technically like a leader for the people, like Cobra and VVR, there is an element of like, do they deserve that? Were they elected, et cetera, that, people who are critical of regimes tend to hold. So it's interesting that the Revolutionary Army, and Robin was literally like a part of the Revolutionary Army, so she would know better than really anyone else, except for, like Koala and Dragon and that whole crew. So yeah, interesting that she is like making that distinction. That's something we'd already kind of learned, like that they're specifically against the Tenryubito and not specifically against the kings of the world, even though I'm sure there are plenty of kings that they don't like, including the king of Goa Kingdom, because Dragon is from Goa Kingdom and he hates, the fucking nobles there. So, yeah. Sour Lemon says, if Robo Sabo happened, you would deserve 100 from everyone. If Robo Sabo... oh yeah. I'm going to be ranking it... I mean, like, realistically, Lemon, I know you know this. Robo Sabo is a shot in the dark. It's a fun theory. And, like, the reason I even came up with it in the first place was because I suspected that during that conflict, like, we learned about SSG at the beginning of the Reverie, like, mini-arc in between Whole Cake Island and Wano. And I suspected... We learned about the SSG and that it was going to be it was a new technology from Vegapunk that was going to allow the, abolishment of the Warlord system. So I was like, okay, well, what would be, like, what's an initiative that we know Vegapunk has worked on? Pacifista, right? He turned a former king and former revolutionary guy, Kuma, into a robot and then basically mass-produced that guy, more or less, right? Like, into multiple pacifistas, like an army of pacifistas that could be weaponized, right? So I was thinking, if he's advanced that technology, why couldn't he have done the same with guys like Sabo, guys like, like Morley, Kurasu, the other members of the Revolutionary Army? And to me, that made sense in the sense that, like, we know that they were going in to save Kuma. For me, like, and we also knew from Blackbeard mentioning it during one of the intermissions during Wano that those guys clashed with the admirals, Admiral Fujitora and Ryokugu, Green Bull. So we had reason to believe that those guys were going to lose that confrontation because at the time we didn't suspect that those, like, Sabo's tough, and he was able to hold his own against Fujitora for like a short period of time. But, like, we didn't know how tough the Revolutionary Army guys are, like, or the commanders were that were with Sabo, that were there for the Kuma rescue mission. We weren't sure, like, exactly what was going to happen there. I suspected that they could end up being captured and potentially, similar to Kuma, be turned into, like, essentially human weapons, just like Kuma was, and also, which could then lead to them being, like, mass-produced, also like Kuma was once he was kind of turned into a human weapon, right? So like a cyborg individual, like a pacifista, right? So at the time when I first like theorized, like Robo Sabo is like the meme name that everyone has given to this theory, but like at the time the theory made sense for me, like dramatically and like with what we knew in the narrative at the time. Now that we see that there are these guys like what's it called, the Seraphim? Yeah, from last chapter, the Seraphim, like the Lunarian spliced, the Lunarian spliced Shichibukai clones, is what they appear to be, anyway. We have, like, it seems like that is what Oda decided to go with. So, who knows what he did with Sabo? Sabo could still end up being, like, a pawn that the world government is using, as I initially suspected. And the reason why I thought that would be, like, more narratively compelling than just making Sabo, like, captured or on the run or framed for a murder that he didn't commit. Not to say he couldn't still be all of those things, but for me, the reason why the Robo-Sabo thing was compelling is instead of making it like another rescue arc where Luffy, Sabo gets captured, Luffy has to go save him, which is what a lot of people theorized might happen. I thought that would probably be too repetitive, and I do still have some faith in Goda, and I figured that Oda would probably switch things up and maybe like kind of since we already have one former Revolutionary Army guy who was turned into a human weapon and then mass-produced to, become like an army of cyborg, Terminators, I thought, like, well, why doesn't, it would make narrative and thematic sense for that to happen to the other revolutionaries as well, because the revolutionaries, and Sabo very much in particular, are all about freedom. Like, Sabo was the one who kind of, like, freedom pilled Luffy and Ace. Like, he was the one like, listen, man, I live in like this strict regimented like lifestyle. That's why I literally hang out in a junkyard with you guys, because I fucking hate that shit. I fucking hate that privilege. I fucking hate like the structure of that civilization, and I want to be free like you guys are. Like, I am jealous of you impoverished fools, essentially. So Sabo has been like a big freedom guy. And that's why Dragon took a liking to Sabo in the first place. He saw like, oh, you get what's wrong with the system, even though you were born into it. You have a lot of like, you have perception, you have like emotional intelligence that a lot of these like privileged fucks do not have. So for me, it made a lot of sense that like, just like they did with Kuma, who is also a former revolutionary and Sabo's friend, that they might capture, that the admirals might defeat the, generals from the, the Revolutionary Army, capture them, hand them over to Vegapunk, so Vegapunk could, basically do what he did to Kuma to those guys. Basically, like, turning them into what they were trying to save their friend from, while also literally, like, taking away their freedom and turning them literally into, like, soldiers that can be controlled by the world government. And that would also give, potentially create some dramatic stakes in the future, where maybe Sabo is protecting Eam or someone else high up in the world government situation, like the Gorosei, and he has to, like, literally contend with his former brother who has been weaponized against him. Like, to me, that made a lot of, like, and I get if you think that's a bit of a leap. It was just a theory, if I'm wrong, whatever. I didn't make any bets with anyone on Robo Sabo, luckily. I'd be broke too soon. But essentially, the idea for me was like, that would be like a fun twist. It would lead to Sabo having like a different arc overall than someone like Ace, but it would also keep the door open where maybe Luffy could like reach Sabo's soul in a conflict where he actually has to like kind of like, instead of defeating someone like head on, he actually has to like kind of like bring them back from being like kind of like overtaken by this sort of like technology and control that's been ripped from him. It could have led to some interesting dramatic scenarios that I thought would have been really fun, which is why I thought it might be an interesting direction for the story to take. That being said, Oda rarely does what I think he's going to do, at least like verbatim. I get some things right, I don't get everything right. So obviously, as we're about to learn in this chapter. So that was the whole reason behind the Robo Sabo initiative. But I think it was a valid theory. I think it was like kind of like a fun thought exercise. It was fun to like think like, where could Oda take these ideas or these characters? But hey, it looks like the other revolutionaries escaped. They're back on Kamabakta Kingdom. They were able to extract Kuma, even though he's probably gonna, he's like literally still controlled by the Vegapunk. He's probably gonna blow that whole like island up. He's gonna destroy them all. They're gonna like fucking activate him out of nowhere. He's gonna kill everybody, basically. And Sabo is obviously in a precarious situation. Who knows if we'll find out more this chapter, if we're gonna have to wait for that payoff. It could still be true that he has still like been weaponized for the forces of evil. Who knows if it's gonna be like in the way that I expected, where he becomes sort of like Kuma. It could be that he becomes a Seraphim. It could be that they do something else with him, or that he's just captured and they're like just kind of, making him say things. I don't know. It could be a lot of different things. Who knows? But that was the onus for that theory, essentially, if that makes sense. Hopefully that doesn't sound as stupid as the tagline Robo Sabo sounds. Yeah, it's just a convenient, easy phrase to remember. That's all. All right, Sour Lemon says, to be fair, even after this chapter, it's still weird how they managed to get out of Mary Jo. Dude, that's what I'm saying. Like, how did they escape? Like, I get, like, maybe they're just stronger than we all anticipated, which I guess is possible. Or maybe, most likely, the way I think about it is, like, Sabo might have, like, fallen on his sword. And maybe someone above Ryokyugyu and Green Bull, someone above Green Bull and Purple Boy Fujitora, was like, yo, like, hand them over to us. Don't you, like, we have ordered you not to tell Akainu about this because he would not allow for it. So that's a possibility. Who knows? It's hard to say at this point. There's just too many unknowns. It's looking like with the advent of the Seraphim, it looks less and less likely that Robo Sabo will become a thing, but I still think Sabo might be compromised by the enemy in some way, shape, or form. Because I feel like the world government is keeping the Marines out of the loop. I think there's like being a bit of like, ever since the conflict between like Sword and Drake and the CP0, I think there's been like a wedge kind of brought between the world government and specifically like the world government, like in the like Cypher Pole and like the Tenryubito and the Gorosei and Eam. I think they're kind of like starting to have like a bit of like a divide between them and the guys, the Marines, which are led by Akainu. I think we might be leading to some sort of, not crisis of faith for Akainu, but like I could see him like finding out like, oh, like, you know, like I could see him kind of like losing his fucking shit when he realizes like, oh, I've been fucking played by like Eam or something. Who knows what'll happen? I'm not expecting a Akainu redemption arc or anything, but I could see like he's so dogmatic and like so bought in that I feel like it would be a missed opportunity not to have him kind of like have his world turned upside down in some way, shape, or form. So who knows what's going to happen with that? I still suspect some shady business is going on with Sabo, and I think that's pretty clear at this point in time. Hard to say what it is, but Robo Sabo for life, hashtag that shit. Anyway, the analysis has always made sense. The theory has never made sense. Okay, well, hey, to each their own, my man, to each their own. All right. Sabo wouldn't do something like this in a million years. Okay, Revolutionary Army declares war on the Celestial Dragons. King Cobra of Arabasta, I'm going to call it Alabasta because fuck English, I hate that shit, assassinated by Revolutionary Chief of Staff Sabo. His daughter, Princess Vivi, is missing. Interesting that it's just missing, because you'd think they would want, if they're pinning the murder of Cobra on Sabo, you'd think they'd also pin the kidnapping of Vivi on Sabo as well, but maybe that's just too far of a leap even for Morgans to publish at this point in time. So here's what we'll see. So Luffy says, set course for Alabasta right now. And then Zoro says, like I've been saying, what good is that gonna do? The man's dead. Besides, Vivi was last seen at Mary Jo's. Then let's go there. So, okay. Oh, shit. Barrel Chads? We out here. So everyone who thought Parrot was going to be in the crate, get fucked. Furries must die. You all are degenerates, and you should be ashamed of yourself for wanting Carrot to still be stowed away somewhere. Instead, we got my based boy, fucking wet hair Karibo, or whatever his name is, Karibu. He is still here. Obviously, he's stowed away in a fucking barrel. Where literally Frankie fucking like put him in a barrel when he stowed away ages ago, or when they tried to invade the Straw Hats back on their way to Fishman Island. Hilarious that this guy's coming with. I was so annoyed that this guy didn't do anything in Wano, so I'm happy that they're taking him with them. He's going to become a new crew member in no time, just like Robin did. It's going to be great. Looking forward to that arc. Are we heading to Mary Jo's? Not good, damn it. It's too muffled to hear. They kick the barrel. You moron, that's the den of the enemy. You want to take on Navy HQ, says Zoro. I mean, they've already taken on Enies Lobby, but obviously there's a difference in scale. Enies Lobby was like small potatoes in terms of like the forces they had standing by, compared to like fucking Marineford, which is like literally like the stronghold. Although Luffy, Jinbei, and Rayleigh did end up like sailing to Marineford back before the time skip, like sailing around the whole island like 3 times, and then like ringing a bell 16 times or something. So it's clearly their security isn't that good, because they were able to get away with that shit. So we'll just have to see what happens. Luffy says, damn straight, what's wrong, Zoro? You chicken? Yeah, fucking bitch ass, pussy ass. Don't want to die in a fruitless battle. Sanji says, simmer down, I'm just saying we don't have any oh, that's Zoro. Simmer down, I'm just saying we don't have any leads. And Sanji says, ooh-ah, where are you, Vivi Chuan? How are you feeling? Please be safe. Very not based, Sanji. You are a piece of shit. No, I like Sanji. It's all good, man. It's all good in the hood, dude. Sour Lemon says, I think the Marines just didn't want to fight someone like Rayleigh after barely surviving Whitebeard. Honestly, I took it as that, like, they showed up when the Marines were, like right at, like, a couple weeks, like a week or two after the battle, when the Marines were just spread super thin, and they just, like, were not expecting, like, random, like, high-profile people to show up. Like, they didn't have, like, literally Akainu was out chasing Blackbeard at that time. You know, like, Garp and Sengoku were, like, trying to resign. You know, like, everyone was just, like, cleaning up the... Because, like, that was, like, the second wave of the pirate era, essentially. Because Whitebeard had just, like, done the... You know, the One Piece wa Tetsu Zayu, or whatever the fuck he says. He did the cock pieces reel, and it basically sent all of this, like, new horde of pirates to the seas looking for the One Piece. Everyone was pillaging and fucking shit up. So the Marines were spread really thin at that point in time. I'm not surprised that, like, they just, like, were, like, they just didn't notice something right under their nose, or, like, barely did, and just, like, couldn't do anything about it, because, like, the only people protecting Marineford after it had basically been destroyed were just a bunch of small fry, because, like, who's gonna attack a Navy base that is, like, literally, like, crumbling, you know, into the sea, right? That's how I saw it, but you might be right. You might be right. Okay, Sour says, and all they were doing was paying respects anyways. Yeah, I mean, they weren't there to fight. Plus, it was Rayleigh, so, like, you know, Rayleigh is, like, the great, the great person who says, he's the great Shanks of Fire. He's the great, de-escalator, as we call him. Honestly, so I watched, the Talking Pirates, stream from last week's chapter, and Nate was just, like, oh, most of his takes were just abysmal, and just, like, fucking cringe, and it was, like, one of the worst, like, I don't watch Talking Pirates or listen to it a lot, because usually I'm doing ChipZ Ahoy at the same time that stream is going on, or, like, right around the same time. And I don't like to have, like, other streamers' opinions or other, like, One Piece, how do I put it? Like, One Piece, content creators' opinions affects my own, right? I like to try to go into it. So, like, whenever the chapter comes out, I'm like, I'm off Twitter, I'm out of every Discord that talks One Piece, because I just don't want any spoilers. I want to go into this shit fresh and have, like, my own, like, kind of, like, craft my own opinions initially, and then I can kind of get into the conversation with y'all, like, later after that, or while we're streaming even. So that's fine. But Nate did have one good point out of his, like, a million fucking horrible points. His one good point was that he doesn't like how it's become, like, basically a meme or, like, a recurring thing that, like, guys like Shanks and Rayleigh will show up to de-escalate conflicts when stuff is, like, popping off and could lead to, like, some interesting narrative, like, things going on, right? Like, so it's happened, like, with, you know, Green Bull attacking, you know, what's it called? Like, Wano, and we knew that that wasn't going to go too far. It just, you know, there were too many strong people on Wano, plus, like, they just finished a battle. It was the post-arc stuff, like, Oda was trying to sell the fucking movie, you know, hype up the fucking shit. It is what it is. But, like, then it also happened again with Blackbeard. And, like, the thing is, Blackbeard's the dude that you want to see, like, fucking with people that Luffy cares about. You want to... And, like, yes, he did kidnap Shanks. I appreciate Rayleigh for protecting Boa from getting literally raped by the Blackbeard pirates. But at the same time, it's still... Like, it de-escalated the conflict, but, like, it was also made Blackbeard kind of look like a bitch. Like, I get that Blackbeard is super calculated. He probably was just like, do I really want to fucking, like, go toe-to-toe with this guy and, like, risk death, even if I'm likely to win? Or, like, you know, I could get, like, gravely injured from a fight with this guy. It would be a close fight, even though, what's his name? Rayleigh said, like, I'm pretty old. I don't think I could take Blackbeard in a one-on-one fight these days. It's still, like, it still feels a bit strange. You know what I'm saying? It still feels a bit strange. So, like, I do agree with that point that, like, whenever guys like Rayleigh and Shanks shows up, they kind of cut the action off. Like, it makes sense. It made sense in Marineford because already, like, a ton of, like, world-changing shit had happened. It makes sense because we knew he was inbound anyway. We knew, like, he was close by or monitoring the situation. It made sense for him to show up there. But, like, the more he does it and the more Rayleigh kind of gets in the way, it lowers, like, the narrative consequences of these, like, interesting encounters like Blackbeard attacking Boa and the Marines, which was incredibly interesting and could have, like, imagine if Blackbeard had, like, fucked up Boa or, like, taken her hostage or some horrible shit had happened. Like, obviously, Kobe's captured, and that's fucked up. But, like, if Kobe and Boa were captured, that would have been fucking nuts. You know how, like, insanely, like, that would have raised, like, the tension for the encounter between Luffy and Blackbeard tenfold. Because, like, now not only did, you know, Blackbeard turn in his brother Ace, he also literally, like, probably would have, like, abused, like, his, like, girlfriend or whatever in Hancock, and also his, like, one of his best friends and, like, first traveling companions in Kobe. And, like, it just kind of is a bummer that we don't get to see, like, where that would have led to, because One Piece, you know, it's light. They try to keep, like, Oda likes to get dark sometimes, but he really hasn't gone, like, into the depths of depravity like he did during the Paramount War saga, like Marineford, Enies Lobby, not Enies Lobby, Marineford, fucking Shaba Odi, where the crew gets, like, separated. Like, he hasn't gone, like, that, like, fucking dark since then, because, and it makes sense, like, that was kind of the Empire Strikes Back, that was the end of Act 2, it was where things needed to get dark to be a wake-up call for the hero. Like, this is how, like, grand adventure stories work, you know, it just is what it is. Like, this is how you tell a grand adventure. You know, like, it's typical hero's journey shit. It makes sense for that stuff to go down, like, for things to, like, for the hero to reach their lowest point in kind of, like, the end of Act 2 of the story, right? Which was, like, right before the time skip. That being said, I still, like, I don't like that Oda isn't letting, like, things play out. He's, like, sending these, like, strong characters. Like, it makes sense for Rayleigh to go there. It's not the end of the world, but it is starting to get, like, a little bit annoying. I want to see a little less of that. I want to see things actually, like, you know, I want to see him raise the stakes a little bit. And he has a little bit, but I want to see him kind of, like, take the fucking, you know, take the leash off and actually, like, go for it. And let bad things happen to characters that we care about. Because that's going to be, it's not that I wish ill upon them, it's just, like, that would be dramatic and impactful and lead to more dramatic conflicts later in the series, besides Luffy just being, I want everyone to eat a big meal in Wano, and punches a dragon into the ground. You know, it's just not, like, that's not the dramatic tension between a hero and a villain that I'm looking for when we get to the Blackbeard confrontation. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully that makes sense. Anyway, let's fucking read the chapter. So, Sanji's crying, Cryji, Cuckji, once again. Vivi's dad is dead. Chopper's also crying. Thank you, he said. But he was so nice, even to us pirates. Yeah, he was the best king around. I mean, he kind of was. He was a good king. I know. I like that during Alabasta, Cobra's, like, devotion to the people was called into question, but then when we learn, like, no, he actually did have the people's best interest at heart, we learn that, like, as we get more flashbacks and learn that he's been basically, you know, dethroned, and, like, there's an imposter in his place with Mr. 2, it just makes sense that, like, yeah, the more we learn about him, the more we learn that, like, he really does give a fuck, and he really does care. So Sour says, and all they were doing was paying respects anyways. Yep, that's probably true, too. It's been many IRL years since that happened. I'm not entirely sure what you're referring to there, Sour, but maybe you could clarify when you get the chance. Yeah, he was the best king around. Ugh, I'm torn between worrying about Vivi. Oh, so Nami's, like, literally spinning around. Worrying about Vivi, and worrying about how she's taking all this. Nami's literally in love with Vivi. They are a lesbian couple, so we'll see that. We'll see. She's going to be the most beat up about this, obviously. Seems like this year's reverie was quite tumultuous, says Jinbei. Frankie, this is the same bro we met in Dressrosa, right? I've never known anyone to be discontent with the way Alabasta is ruled. I said that like 10 minutes ago. The time has passed. Sorry. My bad, dude. Okay, so wait. Brooke's been to Alabasta? I've never known anyone to be discontent with the way Alabasta is ruled. Dude, there was a fucking revolution there, Brooke. You see, this is what happens when you spend 50 fucking years in the Florian Triangle. You don't know what the fuck is going on. Like, he's like, man, no one's ever had a problem with Alabasta and the way the king handled shit there, except for the literally, like, 2 million revolutionaries that were, like, trying to, you know, fight the Alabastan army even before Mr. 2 replaced King Cobra. So, like, that's obviously some bullshit. And, like, this is some revisionist history shit. Oda's thinking that we've forgotten. We haven't fucking forgotten, Oda, you fucking hack. So, that's all I gotta say. Alright. So, we got Cry Piece. It's a real tear-jerking chapter. I can't take it anymore, Vivi. Where are you? I will say, this is the most, like, crew interaction we've had in a while. And just, like, time with the crew we've had in a long time. Which I'm sure a lot of people appreciate. I also appreciate that. It's not necessarily, like, I don't have as big of an issue with not having as much crew time as a lot of other people have expressed. So I'm excited to see it. I'm not, like, you know, creaming my jeans over here about it. So we'll see what happens. What does it? That does it. We're going to go save her. So Luffy's still on that. Let's do it. All of you, knock it off. Luffy, remember what you said about Ace that one time? Okay, yeah, he called him out. Ace has his own adventures. Yeah, I mean, that's true, but also Luffy then reneged on that, like, premise and decided to go save Ace. So, and he regrets not being able to do it. So, I don't think that's the argument you think it is, Zoro. Just saying. You trusted him to make his own way up until the point where he actually needed help. So why underestimate Vivi? She can hold her own. I mean, I do respect Zoro respecting women. Good on you, Zoro. He won't fight them fairly, or fight them at all if he can help it, but he does respect them. Or at least, you know, he presents to be a respectable dude, even though we know he takes it easy on people like Tashigi and Monet. So why underestimate Vivi? She can hold her own. If the opportunity presents itself, we can pitch in then, but in the meantime, have faith and quit belly aching. Humph. You can't stop us from worrying, says Luffy, and everyone's like, fuck you, Zoro. And I agree, fuck you, Zoro. You should have done more in Wano, you piece of shit. Or had a better fight. You're an Oni. No, an Onigashima. You're a green Kaido. Okay. A green Mon. A play on Big Mom and the Green Mum Flower. Crappy mosshead. Shut it forth. There were a lot of... So this is Nami, Sanji, Luffy, and Chopper being like, yo, fuck you, brother. Fuck you for telling us not to go save Vivi. And honestly, Zoro does this a lot. He also did this when Sanji went to Whole Cake Island. He was like, no. Like, Zoro is kind of like the reasonable one of the crew, and he does talk them out. He tries to talk Luffy and the more, like, impulsive, emotional members of the crew out of doing, like, rash things, you know, things that might endanger them more than necessary. So it's understandable. It's understandable. And this is a good call out to what Luffy said back at the end of Thriller Bark, I think. He said Ace has his own adventures. But, you know, there's a give and take here. There's a give and take. Because Zoro is kind of, like, constantly the voice of reason. But with Sanji, like, I think there was a larger argument to be made that going after him would be worthwhile. So, you know, he's not always right. There were a lot of developments while we were in Wano. So Robin's actually gonna, like, give us, like, news. Fuck yeah. About damn time. And things seem to be escalating fast. Zoro and Sanji are fighting in the background. That looks great. I love that. The abolishment of the warlords drove those elite pirates back to the seas. As a result, the Cross Guild was founded, and Buggy the Bombastic Clown became an emperor. There has to be some mix-up, so Luffy knows. Luffy knows this ain't right. That's funny. Luffy, there are other familiar names in here. Would you like to hear the news about them too? Nah, I'll leave it up to you. Just tell me if there's anything big to keep an eye on. Okay, that's cute. I like that Robin always offers to, like, fill everyone in on everything. But Luffy's just like, I'm good. Like, unless it's, like, something, like, about someone that I would care about, then, like, you can just, like, you know, you don't need to inform me. I'm good. I don't need to, you know. Honestly, this is the way most of us should be living. You know, the one thing I really dislike is when people like constantly have the news on, just like 24/7, because they're constantly just like inundated. Like, I'm not saying that you shouldn't be informed about things going on in the world. I think you should be to some degree, but that shouldn't be like your concern or consideration. If you want to have like a healthy life, that shouldn't be your concern or consideration like 24/7. I grew up in a home where the news was on all the time, and it was constantly like it was just like, it was just tense all the time, because like it was just like, it created like a bad atmosphere, and like, I don't know, it just like, I don't like that shit. I personally, in my experience, that creates like, a lot of like, it can absorb you. And like, I'm not saying that people shouldn't be like active in their communities or active politically or active, with, doing good things to help people who are struggling more than they are, or learning about what's going on in the world. They should be doing all those things. But there is a point where you should turn off the TV and like focus on what's in front of you. And that's what Luffy is teaching us. Oda is presenting a virtue through Luffy, and I appreciate that. Based Oda, making Luffy, and Luffy's always been like this, and this is why Luffy is a great character, and a character that I have a decent amount of respect for, even if he is a bit of a silly boy sometimes. It's good not to be absorbed by current events 24/7. Don't let that shit consume your life. Focus on the things that you can affect and what's in front of you, and you will be happier for it. Luffy, there are other familiar names in here. Would you like to hear the news about them? He says no, and Robin says, okay, I'll do that. I wouldn't want to overload you with information. Sabo's innocent. Definitely. He had a real strict upbringing. He just wants to make sure no one else has their freedoms taken the way he did. Yeah, that's what I was saying. I want to see the world and write a book about it. Okay, so okay, here we go. We're getting into Dream Piece. We're getting into into Luffy's Dream Piece. This is the shit that everyone has been pinging me about. Let's see what Luffy has to say here. So this is the flashback to that conversation with Sabo and Ace that apparently is also the same thing that Roger said to Odin and Whitebeard. And I'm going to go over all of that with you guys in just a minute here. So, okay, my turn. I'm gonna come. It's the same thing Roger said. Yamato sheds a single tear as Luffy declares that he's gonna come. Hilarious. The three of us swore an oath. Me, him, and Ace. And I said huh? What did you say? What did you just say? Oh, okay, so we don't get it. Are we gonna flash back to it? Okay. We gotta get it. Because this cannot be what fucking Vale and like a bunch of other assholes were pinging me about. It's just like literally like a, like something, we don't even learn what it was. Okay, hold on. We're not done yet. I'm reacting to this in real time. For those of you who don't know, I haven't read the chapter ahead of time before this stream, so let's see what happens here. Alright. Huh? What did you just say? What? Yo! You're too much. Okay, so, Okay, so here's what I'm gonna say. Already from the reactions here, the fact that everyone is reacting to it... Okay, so all of these characters have heard Luffy say, I'm gonna be king of the pirates, So the fact that they are reacting to it in this strange, way, and they're laughing about it, they are surprised by it, it stands, and most of these people at this point in time have declared that themselves, they've bought into Luffy's crazy dream about being the Pirate King. They've declared themselves to other people when they were in danger or in threat of being murdered or, having people harm their loved ones. They said Luffy will be the Pirate King. That's what they said. So the fact that they're reacting to it in this way, even without knowing what his true dream is yet, this is definitely confirmation that the second half of Luffy's dream, whatever it might be, whatever we're going to learn that it is, whether we get it in this chapter or a later chapter, they are not the same thing. I see what people were saying. I see why I was getting pinged. It's clear from these reactions, these surprise reactions from all of our crew members, that this is not just Luffy saying, once again, I'm going to be king of the pirates. Makes it abundantly clear. Vale, Hot Boy, I owe you guys some money. I'm excited to see where this goes, but I owe you guys some money. And we're going to talk through my thought process and the reason why I thought that it potentially could be as simple as I'm going to be king of the pirates. We're going to get to that later. Once, depending on how things go here, I'll get to it sooner. Or if we get to the chapter without learning what the dream actually is, I'll talk about it then. Anyway. Huh? What did you just say? What? You're too much. So Brook's laughing. Nami, Zoro, and Jinbei are like, the fuck? Hey, are you serious? Wow, that sounds great. It's perfect. So, okay. Based Frankie, whatever this dream of Luffy's is, he is like, Frankie is fucking on board. Chopper, I think someone needs to check his head. So, Sanji's having a laugh. Robin is just like speechless. And clearly, Chopper's loving it. Whoa! Blushing, all that. Come on, there's no way anyone can do that. But I'll have a shot if I become king of the pirates. So king of the pirates is only the first step to Luffy's dream. That's so interesting. That's actually incredibly interesting. Like, getting away from, like, what I thought was going to happen regarding Luffy's dream and, like, what I, bet on would be the case. At the end of the day, like, this is interesting. Like, this is an interesting development. And one thing I've loved about One Piece is that as the series progresses, we steadily learn more and more and more and more about who Luffy is, what he cares about, what he values, and, like, what his goals are, and like what he'll say, like, even learning like what he means when he says king of the pirates. We learned it when he spoke with Rayleigh back in Sabo Odi before the time skip. He said at that point in time, Rayleigh's like, you sure you want to be king of the pirates? Everyone's going to be after you. You're like, you're going to be a wanted man. And he's like, listen, man, I don't know about all that. For me, what king of the pirates means is that I am going to be the freest person on the seas. And like, that was the first time we finally realized what the term king of the pirates means to Luffy. He's like, as far as I'm concerned, the person who is the king of the pirates is the one who is the most free, and that's what I want to be. I'm going to talk more about that in a little bit, but that, like, I like that, like, every time Luffy goes up against a new villain, we always learn a little bit more about him. We learn a little bit more about what he cares about, what he values, who he is as a character. Like, Oda doesn't give Luffy internal monologues because he wanted Luffy to be a man of action. But what he does do is he, like, the villains will have their own monologues. They'll express their own point of views. And Luffy's reaction to, like, Luffy always holds up. The reason why Luffy is such a good character, and one of the many reasons, like, he's a super fun character. He's been, like, he still hasn't gotten old. Like, it's still fun to follow Luffy, even over 1,000 chapters into this series. And it's because not only is he like a fun character who can be serious when he needs to be, but also funny in a lot of instances, and has that like childlike wonder to him that just like makes every like new experience that he goes into like super interesting, and like we never know how he's going to react to something. Like, he's always like kind of like being a goofball or like finding a funny way to like interact with new characters or do something new. And like but what's most interesting to me about Luffy is that every time he runs up against a new villain, we always see that like another element of like who Luffy is, and it's always like a mirror of his enemy, right? So like with Buggy, for instance, the first time he fought Buggy cares about like jewels and gold and like kind of gathering all the treasure that he can. He wants to be like the richest guy on the seas. He doesn't value friendship, at least at that point in time, and he doesn't see things that don't have like, he can't assign a monetary value to as valuable. However, Luffy obviously values his hat. That is his treasure. And when he first meets Nami, he's like, don't touch my treasure. And it's not, the hat doesn't have any intrinsic value as we know yet, but what makes that interesting is that Luffy values it because it is a representation of his bond and his promise between him and Shanks, the guy who inspired him to become a pirate in the first place, to set out on this road. So, like, and then when we get into what happens between him and Captain Don Krieg, like that's an interesting conflict as well, because Don Krieg is like not honorable. He like does underhanded shit. He like always like kind of like throws his enemies and like does everything he can to like, you know, basically like he doesn't care about his men. And Luffy, on the other hand, is willing, like, Don Krieg wears, like, armor, like, he is, like, always, like, kind of, like, shelling himself around a giant crew, around, like, his armor, around all these weapons to make himself, like, shielded, and Luffy is willing to put everything on the line. That's what makes him, like, a stronger person and a better leader, and a more, like, considerate leader than Don Krieg. So, what's interesting is, like, throughout Luffy's journey, we see more and more about, like, what he cares about, and, like, who he is, not just as a person, but also as a leader. Because what Luffy is doing is, like, his whole character arc is how he's becoming a better leader as he kind of continues on his journey. But also, like, kind of how he's, you know, like, becoming someone who could be, like, King of the Pirates, as well as, like, just kind of, like, peeling back, you know, like, he's an onion, man. He's got layers, man. It's somebody. No, okay. It's Shrek piece, man. You know, he's a layered guy, and we keep like slowly peeling back more and more layers to who Luffy is and what he cares about, because he's a man of not few words, but he's a man of action. He doesn't go out bragging about his connections to his family members, or, you know, because I think he probably just doesn't even understand how important they are most of the time. Like, he doesn't know that Garp is an important guy. He's just like, Garp's really strong because he beat me up as a kid. Same with Ace. He's like, Ace is a badass, but he didn't know his relation to Whitebeard until he met him again on the Grand Line, because Luffy doesn't read the newspaper. So, like what's so interesting about Luffy is that, like, and what I love about the way he is written is that he kind of, like, slowly, like, we learn more about him, and it feels natural, because Luffy is not a boastful guy. He's not the type of person who would brag about his connections or his rank or his power. He lets his hands do the talking. He lets his actions do the talking. And he basically only says things that he needs to say, or when things become relevant. So now this does feel like this probably should have come up, because he's so adamant about saying, I'm going to become King of the Pirates. So you'd think that he would also be adamant about talking about the second component to his goal, to his dream. But it's still, like, I'm still curious. I'm still interested to see, like, what it is and why he hasn't spoken up about it before. Because clearly, becoming King of the Pirates is the thing that will allow him to facilitate this second half of the dream. The first step is being King of the Pirates, and then he can do what he wants to do, right? So that makes sense. So let's see. Come on, there's no way anyone could do that, says Usopp. But I'll have a shot if I become King of the Pirates. I don't even know how to come up with this stuff. I don't even know how you come up with this stuff. Huh? I've never mentioned this to any of you before. Wait, so he's asking himself a question. He's like, wait, I've never actually said this to you guys before? Are you sure about that? So Luffy doesn't even remember. He's like, I could have sworn I brought this up before, but they're like, no, you haven't said this before. Which is hilarious, because these guys are like his crewmates, his best friends, you know, his Nakama. You'd think he would have said something, but nope. Usopp, nope, but it wouldn't have made much of a difference, since it's impossible. That means I only told Shanks. Okay, so we know that Shanks knows, because Shanks told Rayleigh, and I'm going to get into this, he said, Rayleigh, I met a kid who said the same thing as Roger said, who has, like, the same dream or whatever. That means I only told Shanks, Ace, Sabo, and I guess that's it. Oh, how did they react? They all laughed. Oh, and Shanks had some tears rolling down his face. She. Okay. That's what I want at the end of my dream. Jinbei's. I like Jinbei's laugh face a lot. This is a really funny face. Well, I joined this crew willingly, so I can't exactly say it's not my problem. I sure picked a troublesome captain. Luffy's just chuckling. She. That's awesome, Luffy. Your dream's amazing. It sure sounds like you, says Nami. Since you gotta be Pirate King to even make that possible, we'd better find that last load poneglyph. So Frankie's gonna shoot off a load and turn it into a poneglyph. Then it's off to Laugh Tale. And we still got the barrel that, what's his name? Karibo's in. Is Karibo gonna go to Laugh Tale and steal, like, an ancient weapon or a poneglyph from Laugh Tale? That would be fucking wild. Then it's off to Laugh Tale. You make it sound so easy, Frankie. It's been a long time since that poneglyph was last seen. We don't even have a clue on where to look. All right, so we got McDonald's here. Okay, so hold on. Before we move on to the Marines, let's talk a little bit about this wager I made with some friends in the old school Discord. So, back in the day, this must have been back when the podcast was actually still going. Crazy. Like 2 years ago or something. Absolutely insane. Before the horrible the horrible plague that we have now of talking pirates. We had this great thing called the podcast that everybody liked. Not everybody, but like it was overall a good show, a very good show, very entertaining, with the hosts Nate, best guy ever, and Give and Take, aka Gib, aka Hypocrite, YouTuber and artist on Twitter. Anyway, so what went down in chapter 1000? Just to refresh everyone's memory, I'm going to share some panels here. Is that we essentially got a chapter where we got some revelations, right? And specifically, what came up is, like, there was a flashback. Yamato was explaining some stuff to Momo, because Momo had just read Odin's journal. So what we learned here is that basically there was some, like, basically we get a flashback. Yamato has a flashback where they flash back to when Ace visited Onigashima to fight Kaido, but Kaido wasn't around. He was off on a campaign, raiding dungeons, and, you know, he was off on a WoW campaign, essentially. And so Ace shows up, and he says, like, he basically says something along the lines of, like, that is, you know, my brother's dream, and he says, like, my brother's going to come to the sea, and he's going to be a badass. So he's drinking with Yamato, his old drinking buddy, his old fuck buddy, and he says, I said too much. I just said it without thinking. So he told Yamato what Luffy just told the entire crew. So Yamato actually found out what the second aspect of Luffy's dream is before, the second component is before the rest of the crew did, which is wild. But anyway, I just said it without thinking. Forget what I said, and more importantly, don't make fun of it. Sabo and I will never forgive you, even though they fucking made fun of it way back, like, what, 10 plus years ago? And he says, that is little brother's dream. The first time he said that, we had a good laugh, but I won't allow the others to do so. We believe in him. He truly believes that he can achieve it. And then Yamato says, Ace! And, like, lifts this shit up. And then, wow, what's gotten into Yamato? So Yamato lifts up Odin's journal and then says, never, I would never make fun of him for that second component of the dream, whatever it might be. The King of the Pirates also said the same thing. So, okay, so what did we learn? We learned that basically Luffy has a dream, which at this point in time, all we knew about it was that, you know, what we always knew. Luffy wants to become King of the Pirates. He's going to be king. He's going to be the most free person on the seas, right? That's what we learned in Sabo Odi, that's what that means to Luffy. He doesn't want to be like an admiral or like an armada leader, or even necessarily a Yonko, even though that's kind of the position he's currently in. He just wants to be free, man. That's like really what his goal was, as far as we knew at that point, right? And Yamato, so at this point, this is the translation more or less that came out in the scans, right? So I read the scans, and in this scan, right, it says this is little brother's dream. Now, later on in this chapter, hear me out. Later on in this chapter, we have Kaido say to Luffy, hey kid, I dare you, say it one more time. What do you want to become? So remember that in the flashback, so what do we know right now? We know that Luffy has a dream. It was the same dream as Gold Roger, according to Yamato. And what do we know that Luffy has said his dream was? To become Pirate King, right? So I'm going to take you through my thought process around this and why I was so willing to kind of like, not bet on it. Well, yes, bet on it, essentially, that my reading was correct at this point in time, right? Information had come out since this chapter, and the official release of this chapter, and that translation does support the idea that there was a second component to the dream, which I have since been proved wrong on. So there it is. But I want to explain my thought process to you guys. So, So this chapter, we got this. And then the official release, which I didn't read at the time. It got shown to me later. In this one, Ace says, shoot, that was a slip of the tongue. I wasn't supposed to say that. Don't laugh at that. Me and Sabo won't allow it. That's at the end of my little brother's dream. So, okay, in this translation, they make a distinction that it's at the end of his little brother's dream. And that it sounds like there might be a different component. So this translation, the translation from Viz, which is oftentimes clear, even if it doesn't usually strike the right tone, in my opinion, to like the kind of like way people in One Piece would talk. Like it's a bit too formal, in my opinion. It's still, they make the distinction here that like there is something at the end. However, at the time the chapters were coming out, I didn't read the official translation. I just read this, right? And then, okay, so let's go back and think about this. So we know a couple things, and this is what people were talking about when this chapter came out, right? So what they're referring to here, what Ace and Yamato are referring to, that Luffy and Roger both said, is stuff that we've seen before in previous chapters of One Piece. So in chapter 585, we see that Luffy says, when Ace and Sabo and Luffy are all talking about their dreams and aspirations for the future, Luffy says, hee hee, okay then, and then it cuts away, and then he says, I want to be, and then it cuts away, and all we see is these two guys reacting, huh? And then he laughs, and they say, I can't believe you actually said that. So whatever it was, it dumbfounded them. Haha, you're funny, Luffy, Sabo says. So these guys laugh, and then they have a drink, and this is when they officially become brothers, right? So it cuts away, we don't actually get to see what Luffy says. So that might already be like a pin in what I theorized, which is that it is just, I'm going to be the king of the pirates or whatever. But let me litigate my case to you guys, and then you can make fun of me for sticking to this to such an insane degree that I did, right? So then we go to Roger, and it looks like this is basically the exact same conversation. Roger is talking with Odin and Whitebeard, and he says, we can get there, we'll be the greatest pirate crew in the world, in both name and fact. In the world, that's right. And then I'll be, and then it cuts away. And then we have, obviously, Odin and Whitebeard going, huh? Just like Sabo. And Ace going, huh? And then, rah, rah, rah. And are you serious, Roger? What are you, a little boy? And Odin is speechless. He's like, wow, so cool, so kakkoi, right? So, okay. So at this point, we know that they said the same thing, and that whatever it was, it happened with, Roger was talking with Odin and Whitebeard, and Luffy was talking with Sabo and Ace. We know that it has to be, because it's too specific of a cutaway, and they literally are saying the exact same thing in both chapters, right? So it seems like this is the conversation that is being referred to, where Luffy and and Gold Roger had said the same shit, right? They had the same dream, etc. So this is further supported by the fact that, okay, so actually, hold on, let me start with, okay, so at this point in time, at this point in the manga, when we found out, when we got chapter 1000, and we know that Luffy said something to Shanks that made Shanks say something to Rayleigh, that led that led Ace to say something to Yamato because they were gushing about Luffy and all that. We know that it's the same thing that what's his name, Roger said, and that it was said in these two instances. In chapter for Luffy, he said it in chapter 585. With Gold Roger, he said it in chapter 966. So we know that for a fact, right? But looking through, so here's the thing. At this point in time, we hadn't, there was no film read. There was no, anime arc where, Luffy's hanging out with Shanks and Uta and Ben Beckman, etc. that we have now. At this point in time, the only interaction we had seen between Luffy and Shanks, on screen interaction, that is, was in Romance Dawn, Chapter 1 of One Piece. So at this point in time, of all the things Luffy had said to Shanks in this flashback, if we are thinking that, Oda is going to be drawing, like, I was operating under the assumption that Oda might be drawing from something that we've seen. You know, an interaction between Shanks and Luffy that we might be able to predict, that we might have seen, and that he wouldn't have to flash back to later. Because Romance Dawn is a chapter that everybody loves. It's really like, kind of like, you know, it was such a great start to the series that it felt like there might be like an Easter egg in here, or at very least something that would stand out as something that would allow for Shanks to be, not inspired by Luffy, but to put his faith in Luffy. To like kind of encourage Luffy to become a pirate and be the person that he essentially passed his will onto by passing his hat, his captain's hat, Gold Roger's hat, onto Luffy, right? Like, it seems like this would be the place to check. You know what I'm saying? And now I totally get that maybe this is me thinking, this was definitely me thinking a little bit too simplistically about these things, right? I could have been more, you know, I could have suspected that maybe there was an interaction that we would learn about later, off screen, between Shanks and Luffy. But for me, I was under the impression that when Oda finally revealed whatever this dream is, we would kind of like see, like, it would be something that we've already seen him say to Shanks. So going back through chapter 1, and there's a lot of stuff in chapter 1, right? A whole bunch of shit. But most of it is Luffy kind of like being like a fucking upstart. He's just kind of being like, you know, he's like, I'm gonna be a pirate, and they're like, oh, fuck you, Luffy, you suck, you're never gonna be a pirate. You know, he's basically like, at this point in time, he's just a kid. You know, he learns a lot. Like, he's kind of like the flawed one in chapter 1. He's not like a figure of admiration. Shanks is the figure of admiration, and Luffy, throughout the rest of the series, is trying to emulate Shanks, is trying to be a great man and a great pirate, just like Shanks. The most you could say is that Luffy stood up to the guys, to the mountain bandits on behalf of Shanks, which was cool. But at this point in time, Luffy is still, you know, he's a young guy who can't back up any of his dreams or aspirations. He doesn't have any strength behind his fist at this point in time, right? But we do know that at this point in the chapter, this is the first time he ever says what we have known his dream to be for the first 1,000 chapters of One Piece. And he says, I'm going to be king of the pirates. I'm going to be king. And for anyone who's watched Four Kids, it's, he's going to be king of the pirates. He's going to be king, right? So, okay. Now, bear in mind, this is why I thought that maybe this, because we know that whatever Luffy said to Shanks, or to Sabo and Ace, and whatever Roger said to Whitebeard and Odin, is what Ace repeated to Yamato. But we also know that this dream of Luffy's that Ace told Yamato, and that Luffy told Ace and Sabo, and that Roger, it was the same dream that Roger told Whitebeard and Odin, is also the same dream that Shanks, this man right here, after coming back from meeting Luffy, after losing his arm, after giving his hat to Luffy and entrusting him with his, you know, to become a great man and return that hat to him someday, because he saw something in Luffy, right? He saw like a bit of his captain, right? He says, Mr. Rayleigh, I was so surprised. In the East Blue, there's a kid saying the exact same thing as Captain Roger, the very same words the captain said. Now, at this point in time, I was assuming that this is still something that we could potentially predict or like look back at the earlier manga and maybe kind of figure out what it is Luffy said to Shanks, because maybe it would be something in the manga, something on the page that we could actually point back to and be like, oh shit, there it is. It was in chapter 1. Literally the chapter 1 meme. Literally chapter 1, right? That's what I was expecting. That's what I was at first. Because here's the thing, like I said, this translation, the fan translation, the scanlations that came out before the official release, did not have like that. He just said, oh shit, sorry, like, you shouldn't laugh at my brother's dream. That is, and then he says, that is little brother's dream at the end, right? So, like, he says that, and at this point in time, we have no, like, distinct reason to believe, outside of the way people are reacting to this information, like that there is a second component to the dream until you look at the Viz translation. That is the first thing that kind of gives you an inkling. Now, I didn't read the Viz translation when this chapter was coming out, so I didn't. So when people were started making theories about like what Luffy's real dream is, I was like, okay, reel it in, guys. Let's reel it in. We're getting carried away with this fucking theory piece bullshit. In my head, I was like, it's most likely what he's been saying the whole series, because that would just make sense. And, you know, people's response to that was like, okay, but why are people reacting to it in such like a strong manner? And my response was, okay, I get that there are other people in One Piece who say that they want to be Pirate King, but it's not that many if you actually think about it. It's like literally like, so there are people who secretly have the dream of being Pirate King, like Crocodile or maybe Blackbeard. We really don't know what Blackbeard wants yet, but like, you could argue that maybe it's to get the One Piece and take over the world or become king of the world, like what's his name wanted? The guy Rox D. Zebek wanted to be king of the world, right? You know, so like maybe Blackbeard wants to take over the world and do the same thing, or maybe he wants to destroy the government completely or whatever, destroy all the kings of the nations. It was a cutaway that gave it away, not so much their reactions. You know, that's a fair take. The fact that they drew a distinction to, like, they cut away from whatever he said in that instance, where in the rest of the series, they don't cut away when Luffy says, I want to be king of the pirates. That was, I think, the best argument against what I was saying. But here's the thing also, is in this very chapter, like, okay, so this was chapter 1000, right? And in chapter 1000, we were all thinking, like, okay, like, I remember at the time that chapter 1000 came out, everyone was like, okay, like, this is just, you know, it is just like people were expecting, like, something crazy to happen in chapter 1000. But what it actually ended up being was just Luffy, like, just a reaffirmation of who Luffy is. The chapter itself is called, I think it's literally called Straw Hat Luffy. Yeah, it's literally called Straw Hat Luffy, right? Oh no, spoilers. What's up, Extant Planet? Good to see ya. I know, right? I'm spoiling everything for everyone. Yeah, I mean, if you haven't read the chapter, come back later. That's what I would say. This is we're talking One Piece, baby. This is a full read through and discussion, and me also taking a big L on a bet that I made with people 2 years ago. So, but anyway, when this chapter came out, it's called Straw Hat Luffy, and I remember there were other people who agreed with me, not a ton. But like, for instance, I know that this isn't even like a point of, this isn't bragging or anything, but like Nate actually, at the time that this chapter came out, he agreed with me too. Nate, best guy ever, who runs the Talking Pirates thing and was doing podcast at the time, he had the same opinion as I do on this, which is that most likely the simplest answer is probably the right answer. Now, here's why the particular cutaway did not convince me, right? And it's because in this chapter, we're building up to, like, in the fan translation, at least, Ace says, I said so much, I just said it without thinking. Sabo and I will never forgive you. That is little brother's dream, right? And then he truly believes that he can achieve it, is what Ace says here. And Yamato cries, and he's like, that's the same thing the King of the Pirates said. And if you scroll down to the end of the chapter, when it's like Luffy and the Supernova are about to start Roof Piece against Big Mom and Kaido, Luffy walks between them. He ignores them. He goes to Kinemon. And Kaido says, hey kid, I dare you, say it one more time, what you want to become. And remember, when Luffy first met Kaido, he said, best men famous for nuclearly bad takes. Yeah, I probably should have known that when I agreed with Nate, I was digging my own fucking grave at that point, right? That's honestly fair. That's honestly fair. But anyway, at the time, I thought I had something. And it wasn't even that I thought I had something, I just thought the simplest explanation was probably the most likely. Now, here's why I didn't think the cutaway mattered that much. Because to me, I thought it was a cutaway for just like dramatic effect, right? Like the reason why they said that is little brother's dream, right? And the reason, and then at the end of the chapter, this chapter is called Straw Hat Luffy. At the end of the chapter, Kaido says, hey kid, I dare you to say it one more time, what you want to become. In chapter like 928, I believe, which is when Luffy and Kaido had their first fight down outside of Odin Castle in Kuri, I believe. Kaido says, who are you? And he says, I'm Luffy. I'm going to be, I'm going to be king of the pirates. And like, that's what starts their fight. So now Kaido is asking him again, hey kid, I dare you to say it. I dare you to fucking say it. earlier this chapter, we just got talk about what Luffy's dream is, right? And that it was the same dream as Goldie Roger, right? And that people have big reactions to things, right? Now, we know other people want to be Pirate King, specifically the Yonko, right? We know that, like, these two at very least, or at very least Big Mom, wants to be Pirate King as well. For me, it was less about, for me, I thought a lot of this was building to this dramatic moment where Luffy, at chapter 1000, in the chapter titled Straw Hat Luffy, where he goes up against two emperors and starts his fight with them, and Kaido says, "What kind of king are you going to be?" He dodges him, punches him, and then says, "And I am Monkey D. Luffy, I will surpass you, and I will become the king of the pirates." For me, this chapter being, dramatically kind of, keeping his dream or whatever away from us is just building to this moment where we're reaffirming who Luffy is, what he wants, and that might be something simple. At least at the time, I thought that's probably something simple. But the thing is, it's not highlighting as much that this is new information for us, because it's not. It's highlighting that Luffy is the type of guy who has the gumption to state that he wants to do basically accomplish the impossible, become Pirate King, which is something only one other person has ever done. And before that person, before Gold D. Roger became Pirate King was not a thing. Pirate King was not a thing that people knew about. It wasn't a thing that people that wasn't in people's vocabulary. Because if you think about those two words, Pirate, King, right? They are inherently contradictory. Pirates do not bow the knee to any ruler. They are specifically, a pirate who flies a flag is considered an enemy of the world government for simply flying a pirate flag. Because, in the world of One Piece. Because that specifically is what makes them, that just shows that they are not willing to submit to the world government. That's what the pirate flag is, a statement of that. Literally. In the world of One Piece, that's what it means. That's why the Marines were going after Luffy before he had a bounty, because they're like, hey, you're a pirate, you're flying that flag, we're going to capture you, because you won't submit to our authority. So, the pirates having a king, or there being a king of the pirates, in the world of One Piece at the very least, is a contradictory statement, especially considering that Luffy doesn't necessarily want to, have an army or be have a kingdom. He wants to be the most free. That's what being a pirate and being the king of the pirates means to him. To other people, it means other things. To other people, it's oh, I'm going to rule these seas. Lin Lin, Big Mom, is basically, for lack of a better word, she's an authoritarian. She wants everyone to submit to her will, and she wants things to go her way, right? She, her idea of being the Pirate King is ruling the seas with an iron fist and making things the way she wants them to be, or the way she thinks things should be, which is basically making Mother Carmel's dream a thing. So, at the time, so here's the thing, by Luffy being able to state his dream and back it up with his fist, which is something he was not able to do back when he initially, confidently stated his dream to Shanks back here in chapter 1, literally chapter 1, he is now able to back that shit up 1,000 chapters later. And to me, that was enough reason to kind of have those cutaways and to kind of build up to it in a big bad way. And, because this chapter, 1,000 chapters after the start, to me, there's not a lot that happens in this chapter. It's alluding to this, now we know it was alluding to this other component to Luffy's dream, the second aspect to it that he wants to accomplish after he becomes King of the Pirates. But at the time, when this scanlation came out, and it did not make that distinction, I thought this was just a reaffirmation of Luffy's goal and his gumption and his willingness to back his shit up and state to the strongest people in the world who are closest to becoming Pirate King, I'm the one who's going to do it, not you. To me, that's what I took away from that, and that's why I thought what I thought. Because at that point in time, we had literal evidence that this is something that he said to Shanks. And to be fair, yes, there are other characters who have stated what being Pirate King means to them, but very few of them, outside of a handful of villains, have ever stated that they want to be Pirate King. Outright. Some of them we know want that, but they haven't stated it. It's about having the balls to basically state your dream and then be able to back it up. To me, that's what it was all about. And I was and everyone at this time was coming out with insane fucking theories. Like, Luffy's gonna have a fucking feast with everyone in the world. He's gonna, raise sake with everyone in the world. He's gonna do Bink sake or whatever. Like, and he still might do that. Now it seems like that kind of shit is more likely. But the type of theories and the type of extrapolation people were coming up with at the time just seemed like really, like, a huge stretch. It feels like people were taking, like, a very minor line and just running with that shit. Just running with it. And I was like, okay, guys, let's calm down and consider that it might just be the simplest thing. It might be the thing Luffy's been saying from the very beginning. It just might be. Like, and it's because, and like people who say like, oh, the reactions from Whitebeard and Odin and from Sabo and Ace, they're too big for it to just be the Pirate King. But here's the thing. When Roger said this to Odin and Whitebeard, they laughed because at that point in time, saying you want to be the Pirate King is like saying you want to be God and the devil at the same time. It is literally like two opposing words. Like, I want to be king of the free, basically, king of the kingless, ruler of the rulerless, right? It like in the world of One Piece, these two terms, pirate and king, do not go together. Like, there is no overlap. You cannot be both, And, like, the pirates have no king. That is the nature of piracy. They don't have a king, right? So, like him saying, I'm going to be Pirate King, and then cutting away, and these guys being like, bro, what are you, a little boy? And him being like, wait, what the fuck? Like, Odin being, like, shocked, because that's, like, it's saying, like, I want to be devil god. I want to be Satan Jesus, it's like that doesn't, like, these things do not mix, it's like oil and water, it did not make sense at that point in time. For Luffy, yes, people had already declared Roger the Pirate King, but, like, Luffy is just like a shitty brat on a fucking little island somewhere, and the only other people saying this shit, saying I want to be Pirate King, are also hopeless fools that are considered hopeless fools by the rest of the world, like Kid. Like Captain Kidd, right? Who literally would, like, people would just make fun of him whenever he would say that, and then he'd beat the shit out of them or kill them. So, like, for me, that's the reason why I thought, like, they might be building up to it. And yeah, I'll take my L. Obviously, I was wrong. But, at the time, that was my thought process. You can say I'm an idiot, whatever, that's fine. I just wanted to make sure you guys understood where I was coming from with that. So hopefully that makes more sense, and you guys are able to see why I had my opinion and was willing to back, because at the time, like, yeah, this I remember getting sent this like screenshot about like the end of my little brother's stream, and I was like, okay, yeah, that makes it more likely that there's another component to it, but look, that doesn't necessarily, confirm anything. So I still thought people were reading too much into it with their huge theories, because like fucking Artur Library of Ohara came out with like a fucking massive theory video about this, about it being related to the Bink sake and like sharing a drink and having a party with everyone in the world or some shit. And like that could still be, now we know that this shit could happen. Whatever, it would be fine. I don't care. But like at the time I was like, guys, like I think you all are blowing this out of proportion. The most likely thing is that it's been the thing Luffy's been saying the whole time, because he really is one of the only people in the series who say that. Not saying there aren't other people who do it, but it's few and far between. It's few and far between. Not everyone wants to be the king of the pirates. I'm just saying. Not everyone states, and not everyone is willing to state it to like a Yonko. You know what I mean? Artur is pretty funny. But anyway, I hope that makes sense. Yeah, no, he's not trying to be. Not at all. That dude takes himself too seriously. That's kind of his problem. Admiral Ricardo. Maybe one day we'll do a reaction to Return to Reverie. I haven't actually read it in full yet. God, that's, oh shit. Well, the stuff I've seen from Return to Reverie is so fucking good. It's so funny. It's so funny. But anyway, we can move on. I just wanted to make sure you guys understood why I autistically made a bet on a whim with a bunch of people about this thing that I turned out to be wrong about. So obviously, Fig, not Fig, sorry. Fuck, no, it's definitely not Fig. No, it's Vale and Hot Boy that I owe some money. So I'll be in touch with you guys later about that. But I had my reasons. Now you know what those are. I think I did have like a long conversation with Hot Boy about this in VC once. I'm pretty sure I was high when I made this bet, but I'm still gonna honor it, man. I'm still gonna honor it. Because that's what you do. That's what you do when you're wrong. You take it on the chin. You take it on the chin, you come back. Come back for Robo Sabo. That's where I'll start raking in the cash. That's where I'll renege on all my losses at that point. Anyway, let's move on. Navy HQ, aka fucking McDonald's. The New World. We've intercepted a transmission. It's from Flame Emperor Sabo to the Kamabaka Queendom. Oh shit, so we're getting this shit. Robo Sabo? Robo Sabo? Am I gonna get a W to help me recover from this huge L I've taken? Let's see. Where is it coming from? We have to pinpoint the origin. He's not using a white transponder snail to jam his call. He must be desperate to doubt. I doubt he'll speak for long. We've traced his position. Where is he? Lulusia Kingdom. So Lulusia Kingdom. So these guys, I can't tell if they're here, if they're listening in on the conversation, or if they just like, oh no, they do know. Or they don't know? I guess they don't know. Lulusia, really now. That's one of the 8 nations that rebelled a few days ago. It would be an ideal place for Sabo to seek refuge. We got Eam. Holy shit, we haven't seen Eam in a minute. I really like Eam's character design, like the real slender, tall crown look. Literally just looks like a shadow most of the time. I see. We got Gandhi. We got Gorbachev. No, this is fate. He's an unlucky man. No, this is fate. Okay, so it seems like even these guys don't know what happened to Sabo. So I might taking an L on Robo Sabo this chapter too. Fuck. God damn it. Am I about to be wrong about literally everything in one chapter? Oh my god. That's God. Oh, Jesus Christ. I'm never gonna live this shit down. Kamabaka Queendom, Sabo-kun. Sorry, I know I've caused you all a lot of trouble. Sabo, we're so glad to hear you're safe. Shit, that's the real guy. It looks like it anyway. Dragon-san, I wasn't the one who killed King Cobra. Of course not! Perish the thought! I totally had faith in you. Says Morley, I think. We knew you were innocent, Sabo-kun, says Koala. Listen, when I was in Marigios, I saw something unbelievable. Unbelievable? The sky's getting dark. Are those clouds? Lulusia Kingdom of the New World. It's almost like there's something huge up there. Oh, fuck. Are we about to get Anel's arc? No, I don't think so. Who the fuck is this? Okay. Oh, we've actually seen Princess Komane before. She was actually kidnapped, I think, back in, I want to say the beginning of, what's it called? Yeah, I know what, I remember this island, because this is the island that the Revolutionary Generals went to back in chapter 903, I think, or maybe 904. It was right before the Reverie. The Revolutionary Generals came here when the King and Queen were on their way to Reverie. So they actually helped the King and Queen, like, basically, or they helped the people fight back against Pinkbeard, the Pinkbeard pirates. See, I remember everything about One Piece. Still can't help me win a bet, though. You heathens will regret this. When Navy HQ gets word of this treason, you'll all be impaled. I like that this guy just looks like a vampire, like literally Dracula. King of Lulusia, Sekai. Make sure they leave a few for me, Papa. I'll never forgive these dirty plebes. Princess Komane. Your Majesty. No, I mean Lord Seki. Please just confess to your crimes. We don't want to kill you. It happened in the throne room at Pangaea Castle. Oh shit, so we got Eam looking like a fucking Among Us. Yeah, this man's looking sus. It happened in the throne room at Pangaea Castle. Cut the signal to the surveillance division's transponder snails. What? I thought that there was no king of the world, but the empty throne wasn't empty. I saw. Oh shit. Oh fuck. Oh no. As far as the surveillance division is concerned, what is up there? A shadow? No one detected anything abnormal today. Papa, I'm scared. Oh fuck. They're gonna blow up the island with like a Death Star, literally? A literal Death Star? Maybe this is Anel, because Anel can basically shoot like giant like fucking lightning beams from the sky just wherever he wants. Fuck, what if the king is an L? That would be fucking nuts. No, there's no way. Wait. Emu. No, Emu can't be an L. That wouldn't make any sense. No information was intercepted. As for Lelouchia. And we keep cutting back to Emu. Oh shit. That country never existed. No one detected anything abnormal today. No information was intercepted. Oh, they fucking wiped the island off the map. As for Lelouchia, that country never existed. So, oh, fuck. Dude, I just realized this is what they did to God's Valley. They wiped it off the map entirely with like a literal death beam, like a Death Star. Holy fuck, dude. Whoa. Fucking whoa, man. Wow. Okay. Now we got some shit. Now we got some interesting shit going on. We have reports of sea quakes off the southeastern shore. Sabo-kun. Sabo-kun. Please beware of tsunamis. Okay, so clearly there's like, this is causing natural disasters because they just like literally fucking blew up an island. Like a country, basically. A few days later, aboard the Thousand Sunny. I'm scared, and it's freezing. Watch out for icebergs. So we got Sea Kings, we got fucking like a blizzard. Furl the sails, the wind is too strong. All right, says Frankie. Are we close to making land, Nami? Brr, it feels like we've entered an island's climate zone. Are we about to get a winter island? Like a literal seasonal island like we haven't gotten in ages? I guess the next one's a winter island. There we go. Nami even confirms it. Oh, aren't you looking dashing, Chopper, says Robin. Verily, Tama gave me this hat to shield me from the snow. Aw, so he got a hat just like Baby Oars Jr. I'm heading out on deck. Hey, Nami, what in the world is that? What are you? Huh? Oh, shit. What is that thing? It's like a giant warm eddy. Is that the fucking explosion from the island? Like, is this literally... Is what we're seeing like a mushroom cloud from like the destruction? Because no, this is like weeks later, right? A few days later. Yeah, it's a few days later. So no, this has got to be a new island. What is that thing? It's like a giant warm eddy. Okay, this is cool. This is like some real adventure piece shit going on here. I'm excited for that. Because this, whatever this is, looks interesting. It's like a giant fucking lollipop or like a giant like bulbous tree or something. I don't know. Shit. An eddy current, but it's going upward. What's an eddy? Do you guys know what an eddy is? I feel like that's something that should be explained. I'm not a nautical speak type of guy, you know? It must mean a mass of warm water is being forced up at this point from it must mean a mass of warm water is being forced up at this point from somewhere. Ooh, it looks like an afro. always the voice of reason, Brooke. Always the based boy. Looking for things that look like him. A rapid temperature change is dangerous. We've got to run, Jinbei. We'll be swallowed up. Leave it to me. So Jinbei's gonna fucking ride the eddy. You should look it up. Let me do that, yeah. I never did myself, but I know it's an actual term. Yeah, let me see. Eddy. Nautical eddy. Looks like a lot of people have been looking this up recently. As an eddy is a circular current of water. The ocean is a huge body of water that... Okay, I know what the ocean is. God damn it, Google. Interesting. It's a circular current of water. Okay, interesting. Okay, so this is like a giant current, but it's like above them. So it's like kind of almost like the knock-up stream, which is interesting. So let's see. Leave it to me. Wait, somebody's trapped in the water. For real? How could anyone be alive in there? Is it a mermaid? Oh, fuck, it's probably Sabo. It's probably Sabo. No, he's right. I can definitely hear a lady in distress. Through a body of water? Oh, maybe it's Vivi? Fuck, what if it's Vivi? Because his observation hockey only works on the puss. Are you guys serious? Even if someone's in there, what are we supposed to do? I'll cut it. You better not leave a scratch on that lady. One sword style. Bird dance. So he cut the fucking Eddie in half. He really cut it. So he can just cut weather now? He can just cut water? Hey guys, what's all the commotion? Amigasa Hat Chopper here reporting for shut up, fucking Chopper. Ah, the wind's too strong. So he's getting blown away. Ah! Chopper, why did you come out? So Luffy grabs Chopper. Chopper! Luffy! Honestly, this is the most like crew interaction we've gotten in a while. And now Luffy and Chopper are flying away. Ah! You're getting blown away too! Whoosh! Plop. A kid popped out. Oh shit! Jewelry fucking Bonnie. Oh my god. I have been waiting for this bitch to get involved in the story for so long. She clearly has some sort of relationship with Kuma because she's like, when we saw her during Reverie, she was disguised as the Queen Dowager of the Sorbet Kingdom, which is the same kingdom that Kuma was king of. So either she's Kuma's daughter, Kuma's girlfriend, Kuma's mom, because she could be whatever age, who knows. I've been very excited. This is going to bring... The fact that she's here means that we're getting into Kuma shit. And soon. Which is great. And she was also at Reverie, so she knows what the fuck happened. So we're going to get Sabo shit. We're going to get Reverie shit. This is great. This is awesome. A kid popped out. One of the worst generation. The Glutton. Jewelry Bonnie. Bounty 320 million. A chance meeting. But she's small. Damn. Oh shit, man. Look at this. Holy fuck. That's a great panel. That is a great panel. Oh man, goddamn, what a chapter. I took so many L's. I took so many L's. I was wrong about Robo Sabo. At least it seems that I'm wrong about Robo Sabo. It seems like he escaped. He was hiding away on a different island that we've seen before. And that island got blown to smithereens, which I know, they wouldn't do that to their boy Robo Sabo. They would do that to normal Sabo, but not Robo Sabo. So it seems like I have taken an L on both fronts. I owe some people some money now, so I gotta go ahead and make good on those promises. But honestly, still a fun chapter. It was nice to see some crew interactions, some crew being funny with each other. And I'm still curious, even though I was wrong about Luffy's dream not having an extra component to it. I'm very curious to learn what that additional component, that second half of Luffy's dream is. And I'm excited to figure out, like, what the fuck is going on with Jewelry Bonnie? Like, I've been waiting for her to get involved. And I'm glad that, like, Law and Kid and the other Supernova are gone. We can just focus on Bonnie, have her be, like, kind of like a fun member of the crew for a little bit. And, goddamn, the Marines just wiped an island off the map. That's some heavy shit, dude. That's some Star Wars shit right there. I'm wondering how they did that. Very cool. Very cool. Whew. Well, anyway, guys, it's been a. Don't forget about your. Oh, dude, Yarouge is the one who blew up the island. He's on a sky island, and he was just like, you know what? That island's. I'm not liking the way it looks. I'm just gonna fucking blow it the fuck up for no apparent reason. And he also wiped everyone's memory so that they would forget that this island ever existed. So Eam obviously looking shook that my boy Yarouge is fucking shit up, making big power plays. I cannot wait for Yarouge to be reintroduced to the story and disappoint everyone because he's not going to be as cool as we all want him to be. But hey, man, a boy can dream. A boy can dream, right? A boy can dream. Anyway, guys, I think before I take any more L's, before I make any more predictions that get me in a deep hot water or deep shit, I think I'm going to call this stream to a close. So thank you so much for joining me on this. Wait, what did Sour say? We need the Yarouge fucks Bonnie arc. Honestly, that's problematic because Bonnie is a child. Sour, come on, my dude. Come on, you should know better than that. Anyway, so Interesting chapter. Obviously not my favorite because I took a lot of, I took some big L's this time. I got a lot of things wrong, but hey, that's the game. That's the game we play. Sour Lemon says, but what are you going to say, Sour? B-U-T-T. But. Look, you cannot look at Bonnie's butt. She is a child. Yorej fucks. Yes, but he doesn't fuck kids, my man. He doesn't fuck kids. At least I hope not. But yeah, I do expect to see Yorej fucking sometime soon. That is what we're all waiting for. That's honestly like the thing I'm the most excited for the end of One Piece, is to see Yorej fucking. Anyway, guys, this has been a hell of a stream, dude. Share the Yorej. I should get it. I need to, I'm not like a, what's it called? Not a partner, but like an affiliate yet. When I am, I'm gonna be making some emotes, and we're definitely gonna get a Yorej emote in the chat. My man needs to fuck. My man needs to fuck. But anyway, guys. Oh God, what did you send me, Sour? What is this shit? I'm afraid. I'm truly afraid. All right. Let's see. Let's see what this shit is. It's going to be a... Oh, I've seen this. I thought this was going to be like a cock edit or something. I thought you were going to get my stream taken down. Yeah, Yorej piece is what we're really waiting for. That's what we live for here. Can we get much higher? Of course not. Not without Yorej. Anyway, guys, fun chapter. I have some debts to settle, so I'll be seeing you in the next one. It looks like we do still have a chapter next week, which is unexpected. We've been on a little bit of a roll. Yo, they should make a Yorej cock edit. Yes, they should. The One Piece is real. Yorej will never die. And I will see you guys in the next one. Peace, and have a nice goddamn day. Stole King of Lightning's outro, because it's fucking based, and I like it. Anyway, see you guys next time.